I used to think high school was about classes, friends, and making memories. But at Northgate High, I learned some memories don't fade away. They fester. For the four of us, weekend detention was just a punishment. We had no idea it was also a death sentence. We were about to learn that some school legends are written in blood, and for us, class was still in session. "You have got to be kidding me." Chloe stared at her phone, holding it up as if searching for a signal that hadn't existed in this part of the school for 50 years. "This has to be a health code violation. I am definitely suing." Mr. Harrison, a man whose face was permanently stuck in a state of weary disappointment, just jangled his keys. "Consider it a lesson in appreciating modern life, Miss Vance. The main school's power grid is down for repairs, so welcome to the old Centurion Gym, your new home for the weekend." Beside Chloe, Ben, who wore his varsity jacket like a security blanket, kicked a loose floorboard. No Wi-Fi, no outlets, and it smells like my grandpa died in here. Real nice punishment, Harrison. I'd been quietly staring at the collapsed bleachers on the other side of the gym when I finally spoke up. "He's locking the door." The heavy groan of the solid oak door was followed by the loud metallic clank of a bolt sliding home. We were trapped. It was Leo who broke the silence. He was sitting on a deflated old basketball, a grin playing on his lips. "You guys know where we are, right? This isn't just the old gym. This is the gym." Chloe rolled her eyes. "Oh, don't start, Leo. I'm really not in the mood for your ghost stories." "It's not a story. It's a local legend," he shot back, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. 1918. A girl died right here. There was a pep rally before the big championship game, and this place was packed, wall to wall. She was 14. Her name was Clara. He pointed a dramatic finger at the mangled heap of wood at the far end of the gym. She was sitting right under those bleachers, just tying her shoe. They said the cheering was so loud, it literally shook the building. The supports, which were supposedly bad, just gave way. Tons of wood and metal came down all at once. He paused. "They say you couldn't even hear her scream," Ben scoffed, but I saw him glance over at the bleachers. "Dude, that's just a scary story they tell freshmen to freak them out." "Is it?" Leo challenged. "They say she never left, that if you're here alone at night, you can still hear her, trying to finish tying her shoe." A faint, rhythmic thump, thump, thump echoed from the far end of the gym. All four of us froze. "It's just the building settling," I said, but my voice was a little too sharp, a little too quick, even for my own ears. The thumping stopped, and from the darkness under the ruined bleachers, a single scuffed leather shoe slowly rolled out, coming to a stop right in the center of the gym floor. For a second, nobody moved. The shoe just sat there, an impossible object from a story we'd just decided was fake. Ben was the first to crack. "Okay, real funny, Leo. You planted it before we got here." "I've never even been in this gym before," Leo said, his eyes wide, all his earlier confidence gone. He was genuinely spooked. No one has. It's been condemned for decades. As dusk started to bleed through the grimy windows, turning the light from gray to a bruised purple, the gym got colder. It was a creeping, unnatural cold that had nothing to do with the fall weather outside. Suddenly, Chloe, who had been furiously trying to get a signal, gasped and dropped her phone. "What?" I asked, rushing over to her. "My screen. It turned on," Chloe stammered, her voice shaking. There was a face, a girl's face, and just for a second. We huddled together, a nervous little island in the vast, dark gym. Then, a loud groan echoed from the bleachers, the sound of stressed wood and rusting metal, like they were shifting again after a century of silence. Another sound joined it, a low, scraping noise. It was the sound of metal dragging on concrete, coming from a dark hallway that probably led to the old locker rooms. "What's the rest of the legend, Leo?" I asked, my skepticism finally breaking. "You said the girl died. What else happens?" Leo swallowed hard. "The story gets messy. They say the bleachers weren't just faulty. They were sabotaged. The school janitor, a guy named Henry, was supposed to fix them that week, but never did. He got the blame. A few days after Clara died, there was a fire. It didn't burn down the school, just this wing. Henry disappeared that same night. Some people said he ran away because he felt guilty. Others whispered that Clara's father found him and made sure he never left." The scraping from the hallway got louder, closer, a rhythmic, angry sound. Scrape, drag, scrape, drag. It didn't sound like the ghost of a 14-year-old girl. It sounded heavy and angry. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. A tall, stooped shadow pulled away from the deeper darkness of the doorway. It was long and thin, and it seemed to drag one leg, making that awful scraping sound. "There's someone there," Ben whispered, his voice cracking. All four of us stared as the shadow figure took a shaky step into the gym. It wasn't Clara. This was something else. The air grew thick and heavy, smelling like soot and old rage. The long-dead light bulbs on the ceiling began to flicker one by one, lighting the gym in a sick, yellow strobe. In those flashing bursts of light, we saw him more clearly. A gaunt man in old janitor overalls, his face hidden by shadows, his body wavering like heat rising off the pavement. And he was looking right at us. With a final violent pop, every bulb shattered at once, plunging the gym into absolute terrifying darkness. Our high school was full of legends, but we found out some are more real than others. The real question is, what would you do if you were locked in with one? If you've got your own scary school story, I want to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. And if you want to know what happened to us next, you have to subscribe, because you do not want to be left in the dark. Panic exploded in the pitch black. Chloe was sobbing, Ben was gasping for air, and Leo was muttering something that sounded like a prayer. For some reason, my mind went clear. "My phone!" I yelled over the chaos. "Chloe, your phone has a light. Find it." Groping in the dark, Chloe's shaking fingers found the smooth glass of her phone. She fumbled with the buttons, and a weak beam of light cut through the gloom. She aimed it where we'd last seen the figure. Nothing. The space was empty, but the scraping sound was back, this time from behind us, closer. "He's toying with us," I said, my mind racing. "Leo, the story. Are they both here? The girl and the janitor?" "Yes," Leo breathed. "They say Henry's ghost is angry, and he torments anyone who comes into the gym. And Clara, she's just trapped. She's scared of him." As if on cue, a soft whimpering sound came from under the collapsed bleachers. It was a young girl crying. At the same exact time, the aggressive scraping started again, moving fast toward the crying. It clicked in my head. He's not just haunting the gym. He's hunting her. The flashlight beam in Chloe's hand shook, landing on an old rusted fire extinguisher on the wall. A crazy, desperate idea sparked in my mind. "Ben, get that fire extinguisher." "What for?" he sputtered, frozen in fear. "Just do it." As Ben ripped the heavy canister from its mount, The janitor's form started to materialize in the middle of the gym, no longer just a shadow, but a semi-see-through figure made of pure rage. He raised an arm, and across the room, a rack of old medicine balls lifted into the air. "He's going to kill us!" Chloe screamed. "No!" I shouted, putting myself between the janitor and the sound of Clara's crying. "He's trying to keep us away from her. Ben, now, aim for him!" With a yell born of pure terror, Ben pulled the pin and squeezed the handle. A massive cloud of white foam erupted from the nozzle, swallowing the ghost. For a split second, the janitor became solid, his face twisted in a silent snarl as the chemical cloud swirled around him. His form flickered and destabilized. "Run!" I yelled. We didn't need to be told twice. We scrambled for the doors, throwing our full weight against the heavy oak. The bolt was old and rusted. On our third slam, the lock splintered and the door flew open, spilling us out into the pre-dawn light of the main hallway. We stumbled away, gasping for breath, not daring to look back. At the far end of the corridor, we finally turned. For one breathtaking second, I saw her. Framed in the gym doorway was the faint, shimmering outline of a young girl in an old-fashioned dress. She gave us a small, sad wave, then faded away as the first rays of sunlight hit the doorway. A sense of peace washed over me. We'd freed her. Relieved and exhausted, we leaned against the lockers. It was over, and then it started. Bong. A deep, loud toll of a bell echoed through the school. Ben looked up. "That's the old victory bell in the main tower. It hasn't worked in 50 years. Bong." It rang again, slow and deliberate. That wasn't a sound of victory. It was a summons. Bong. A third time, we looked at each other, the color draining from our faces. We had escaped the gym. We had freed Clara. But in doing so, we had just released something much, much worse into the rest of the school. Detention wasn't over. It had just gotten a whole lot bigger.